that'll represent like me, who'll say some shit like me. One who'll lay the dick like me. You don't know that nigga who do the shit that I do. Front to your whole little crew. Trick pay for it if I got to. You don't know that nigga gotta run up in your house, put the gun up in your mouth, pull your motherfucking brains out. Oh, you don't know that nigga. Bitch, you don't know that nigga. Bitch, you don't know that nigga. Oh, you don't know that nigga. Bitch, you don't know that nigga. You don't know that nigga. Good fall off in the club. Free drinks for to show some love. Take the bar home for thugs. You don't know that nigga. Who know more niggas than me, who do more killings than me, way more dope dealings than me. You don't know that nigga that dress fresher than me. And you don't know that nigga that wear more photo shit than me. Bitch, you don't know that nigga. You don't know nigga. You don't know that nigga. Bitch, you don't know that nigga. Bitch, you don't know that nigga. That nigga.
Don't know now, dimed in the places out there. Who can spend the grass that I spent? About 5 or 6 best friends, and you don't know that. Oh, let's chain like me, that a foster thing like me, on a offer thing like me. Yeah, you don't know. Oh, that's a chain like me, that a foster thing like me, on a awful thing like me.
Oh, you don't know that nigga. Bitch, you don't know that nigga. Oh, you don't know. Bitch, you don't know that nigga. Don't know that nigga. Bitch, you don't know that nigga. Oh, no, you don't know that nigga. My bitch is bad and bougie, cooking up dope with a Uzi. My niggas is savage, ruthless. We got 30s and 100 rounds to do. All set, whoa, 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 whoa. Records on records, got backers on backers. I'm riding around in a coupe. I take your bitch right from you. Bitch, I'm a dog. Beat that whole walls. Hop in the frog. I tell that bitch don't come for me, come for me. Ooh. Rain drop, drop, drop top, drop top. Smoking on cookie in the hot box. Fucking on your bitch, she a thot thot. Cooking up dope in the crock pot. Ooh, ooh. I swear these niggas is under me. They hating the devil, keep jumping me. Bank rolls on me, keep me company. Hey, we do the most. Pull up and goes, yeah. My diamonds a joke. Holding the fire with no holster, rig the ruler, diamonds cooler. We came from nothing to something. I don't trust nobody, grip the trigger. We'll call up the gang and they come and get you. Cry me a river, give you a tissue. Oh, it's a rolling, not a mule. Tapping on them like the usual. Magic with the break the voodoo. Courtside with a bad bitch. My bitch is bad and bougie. Cooking a dope with a boozy. Woo. My niggas is savage, ruthless. Ooh, we got 30s and 100 rounds to do. And I send the bitch through Uber. I'm young and rich and plus I'm bougie. I'm not stupid, so I keep the bougie. Records on records, got backers on backers. So my money making my backache. You niggas got a low act rate. We from the north, yeah, that way. Fake cookie blood in the ashtray. Two bitches just National Smash Day. Hop in the lamb, have a drag race. I let them birds take a bath, babe. Rain drop, 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 top, drop, top. Smoking on cookie in the hot box. Fucking on your bitch, she a thot, thot. Cooking up dope in the crock pot. Ooh, ooh. Porn phone dropping my outer space, keep cutting. Introduce me to your bitch ass wifey, and we know she slut. Could break down naughty body, now that nigga ducking. Ooh, don't move too fast, I might shoot you. Draco bad and bougie, I'm always hanging with shooters. Might be posted somewhere secluded, private. My bitch is bad and bougie. Cooking up dope with a boozy. Ooh, my niggas is savage, ruthless. Ooh, we got 30s and 100 rounds to do. Still be playing with pots and pans. Call me Quavo attitude. Run with that sack, call me booby. When I'm on stage, show me boobies. Ice on my neck, I'm the coolest. Ooh. Still be playing with pots and pans. Call me Quavo attitude. Run with that sack, call me booby. When I'm on stage, show me boobies. Ice on my neck, I'm the coolest. Ooh, ooh. Yeah, that way. Float on the track like a Segway. Yeah, that way. I used to trap on the subway. Yeah, that way. Young nigga trap with the AK. Yeah, that way. Big guy can't get it on, they see that. My bitch is bad and bougie. Cooking up dope with a Uzi. Ooh, my niggas is savage, ruthless. Ooh, we got 30s and 100 rounds to do. Rain drop, 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 top, drop, top. Smoking on cookie in the hot box. Fucking on your bitch, she a thot, thot. Cooking up dope in the crock pot. Ooh, ooh, we came from nothing to something. I don't trust nobody, grip the trigger. Ooh, call up the gang and they come and get you. Call me a river, give you a tissue. Ooh, God next up, God next up. Ooh, God next up, God next up. Ooh, you know young rich niggas. You know, so we never really had no old money. We got a whole lot of new money though.
Watch me break it, watch me roll. Take that soldier boy, it's Superman at home. Take that soldier boy, break that soldier boy, break that soldier boy, break that soldier boy.
Soldier boy off in this hole.
Watch me crank it, watch me roll.
Watch me crank that soldier boy. The Superman at home.
Woo, crank that soldier boy. Crank that soldier boy. Woo, crank that soldier boy.
Soldier boy off in this hole. Watch me lean and watch me rock. Superman that hoe. Oh, watch me crank that RoboCop. Super fresh, now watch me chop. Choking on them haters, man. When I do that soldier boy, I lean to the left, I crank that thing. Soldier boy off in this hole. Watch me lean and watch me rock. Watch me crank that soldier boy. The Superman that hoe. Woo, crank that soldier boy. Woo, crank that soldier boy. I'm joking on your bitch ass. And if we
your local party. Yes, I drink it every day. Haters getting mad 'cause I got me some baby mates. I'm bouncing on my toe. Watch me super soak that hard. I'm gonna pass it to baby. Then he's gonna crank it up for sure. Haters wanna be me. Soldier boy, I'm the man. They be looking at my neck, saying it's the rubber band, man. Soldier boy, off in his hole. Watch me crank it, watch me roll. Watch me crank that soldier boy, then Superman at home. Yo, crank that soldier boy. Yo, crank that soldier boy. Yo, crank that soldier boy. Watch me do it, watch me do it. Dance, dance, let's get to it, let's get to it. No, you can't do it like me. Don't, so don't do it like me. Fuck, I see you trying to do it like me. Man, that shit was ugly. No, you can't do it like me. Don't, so don't do it like me. Fuck, I see you trying to do it like me. Man, that shit was ugly. Soldier boy out in his hole. Watch me crank it, watch me roll. Watch me crank that soldier boy. Then Superman that hoe. Crank that soldier boy. Yo. Crank that soldier boy. Yo. Crank that soldier boy. Yo. Crank that soldier boy. Crank that soldier boy. Crank that soldier boy.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. How are y'all? So I went against my better judgment and let baby Petty get some pink braids. It's not the whole head. She got a couple of them, maybe 3, but she done turned into a whole different person. As of this morning, she has changed her last name. I think it was Grayson Danger or Douglas or some shit. I don't know. She can't stop flipping her head. And she seems to think that none of the people at school are going to recognize her with pink hair. I have created a damn monster. I don't know what I'm going to do with this child. I don't. But I know her brother going to help me. My 17-year-old said he want to move in and go graduate from my alma mater, which I think is a great move. Like, come on, bring your ass. That's what's up. So I'm gonna let him deal with her since they look like twins. I don't know though. She just, I don't know. I'm gonna be a soft ass parent with her. I see, because I definitely am against little girls having all colored hair and shit. But she had been wanting it. I forgot she was even getting it shit this time. She wanted it last month. But her cousin was like, she didn't have the right color pink, so I didn't even think about it no more. So she came back with her pink hair. I was just like, oh, goodness. And she just is, she's a little diva. I don't know what I'm going to do. And she crazy. I kiss her. She wiped my kiss off. I ain't getting over it. She wiped me. Then my baby, one of them little ghetto babies like everybody else. She wiped my kiss off, but then want a hug. Yeah, just she confusing as hell. I don't know what to do with this child. Her little emotions are everywhere. I don't know what to do. I'm gonna need some I don't know. I'm gonna need some emotional support these next day of 12 years. We got quite a few interesting shocking and strange news stories. Y'all can see some of them that we're gonna go through over there on the right. It's a little spoiler alert. It's ghetto to me, ma'am. That's all that matters. Um, yeah, this one's a really weird story because I think three people maybe were charged in this murder, and he's like 14, if I'm not mistaken. A 7-year-old was killed. Now I don't know if they go into all of this, but from the backstory that I saw and read on, the 7-year-old was killed for dissing Julio. So apparently one of the guys he was hanging with or walking with was an older guy that knew about Fulio and disses of him. And so he got the 7-year-old to diss him as well. And then some teens who know better killed him. I mean, it is a 7-year-old child. Let's put that in perspective what a 7-year-old is doing. They're in kindergarten. They playing Power Rangers and shit. They don't know about all this bullshit. And if they do, that means the adults around them failed them. Now, these little young niggas that killed him, now they could have let the 7-year-old boy know, hey, this type shit will get you hurt because he's 7. But to actually kill a 7-year-old for dissing someone, 7-year-olds barely reading. They reading on the first grade level. They reading simple shit like go dog go. Here we go. Stories like this just are so fucking ridiculous.
We're going straight ahead though.
What would you like to say to the family? What would you like to say to the family?
He was 7 years old. Did someone in a different gang put you up to this? You were told to take up the shooting.
Is there anything you'd like to say? Do you have anything you'd like to say?
I'm innocent.
All these folks are kids. Whole lives gone over dissing someone that's already dead.
So good afternoon. Thanks for being here once again. Today, I'm joined by members of JSO's homicide unit to update the public on the investigation of the murder of 7-year-old Breon Allen Jr. 2 weeks ago, we announced the arrest for of 7-year-old Breon Jr.
Look at this shit. Look how young this little child. That's what I'm saying. They didn't have any lack of they didn't have they had lack of empathy. Clearly, it's a fucking kid. Look at the innocence, because he dissed somebody. They don't even know the football plays right at that age. They just be running somewhere everywhere. The ones that do know them, the ones that are gonna be good at this shit. But they don't mostly just be standing there running around, scared to tackle, scared to get tackled, scared to catch the ball, scared to run the ball. Look at this shit. And then the guys that did it, they teams themselves.
of Breon Allen Jr. 2 weeks ago, we announced the arrest of 4 young men pertaining to this case, and I shared that more arrests were anticipated. This morning, Dante McGee and Tavares Kelly.
Son of a bitch. I didn't know it was a group of grown. I did not. I didn't remember. So it's 7 people locked up in connection to this. Now, every last one of them niggas on the screen, including Keith, this is what I'm saying. At what point, I thought women and kids were off limits. I guess they don't teach that no more. But don't you, as an OG, kind of have a responsibility to try to keep kids from crashing out? I thought that's what OGs was on now. At 21 years old, at 20 years old, at 24 years old, at 18 years old, you can't give a 7-year-old a pass. You couldn't just scare the little young nigga and let him know that's why you shouldn't be dissing, because shit come with it. And even y'all look like the boogeyman to him at 7. Y'all actually shot and killed the nigga. Now, I have no sympathy for now one of these niggas on the screen. All y'all need to get the death penalty or life or whatever the fuck they do down there. The 17-year-olds, I know these motherfuckers could be bad. I got to see their criminal record before I just throw the book at them. But if they some career criminals, they ass need to just be in life too.
More arrests were anticipated. This morning, Dante McGee and Tavares Kelly are pertaining to the January 24th shooting that tragically ended the young life of Breon Allen Jr. and seriously injured Lafayette Mango.
I ain't gonna lie. Tavares look like he bad in the motherfucker and he's a career criminal. I think that little nigga might need to do life. He look bad. I'm sorry, you ain't supposed to judge a book by a cover, but he looked like he give his grandma or whoever his guardian hell.
McGee and Kelly are both 17 years old. They are the actual gunmen who carried out this horrific and brutal shooting. Kelly has additional arrest charge for possession of firearm by a juvenile delinquent, and he is prohibited from possessing a firearm. As I said before, this shooting was a culmination of escalating violence between 2 rival street groups. It was a targeted, planned act of bloodshed, one during which murderers clearly saw Breon walking innocently.
Well, yep, he's a juvenile delinquent who wasn't supposed to possess a gun, but both of them should be charged by not being able to possess a gun because they're minor. But Tavares got it simply because he got a history. I said that nigga looked bad, so apparently he done had a lot of run-ins with the juvenile court system and the police down there. So they threw that extra. Yeah, they're gonna treat him like an adult as they should. He ain't learned his lesson yet.
Intend to target Lafayette. With these arrests, all the perpetrators of these senseless violence will now face a criminal justice system. Our agency will continue to work with our partners at the State Attorney's Office to ensure that the 6 arrested will be held accountable and receive the punishment that they rightfully deserve. Breon's parents have lost their cherished son. Their grieving process will never end, and our agency and our city will continue to stand with him and lift them up in our thoughts and prayers as these cases navigate the justice system. And I'll take any questions that that you all might have at this time.
Sure. This has been now a number of arrests.
Yeah.
In this case, how much has this case weighed on this department in bringing these people to justice?
So when you lose such a treasured child in a situation like this, and let me stress this, there's no murder that we take lightly, none whatsoever. But when you lose a child in that manner, it weighs on you. The hours that our partners put in at the State Attorney's Office, the hours that these dedicated detectives have put in, just evidence the fact that they hyper-focused on making sure we end these issues and we bring the perpetrators of this crime to justice. But it's a pretty heavy weight.
Sheriff, are more arrests expected?
No, this should end it in this case. But I can tell you this much. If they continue, in any of these groups could continue to do this kind of stuff, arrest will put away, guaranteed.
And what was your safety?
We are members of this group, work hard. full-time job for us to make sure we keep community members safe, and then bring those to justice that have done things like this. Completely unnecessary, completely horrible. It should never, ever happen to anyone in our community, especially a young child, 7 years old.
Sheriff, how directly affiliated is, we've heard gang-related activities with this, how involved in other issues were these men in other gang activities? We're talking drugs and guns.
Just associates, hanging out with people that are actually documented, that kind of stuff, and being around these individuals, not documented themselves, but just being around these individuals.
Good morning, Leah.
Those two individuals are affiliated with the same gang.
Just hanging out, just doing things that they shouldn't do, hanging out with people they shouldn't hang out with.
Were those arrested possibly suspected in any other murders next?
There's more, we'll see. I can tell you that we're always looking, and there's cases out there that need to be addressed. So we'll see. I won't tell you yes, I won't tell you no, we'll see. Yes, sir.
Can you go any deeper into what events led up to the murder of a child?
No. I will tell you, like I said before, this is a case that now has to go through the justice system. So I don't answer them, not to be crude or anything else like that. I don't answer them because I want to make sure that the information, some of the very important information, is left for our trial. But I will say that Breon was walking outside with someone that is involved in this lifestyle, right? And I'm not speaking, I just know that he is. And he was the intended target, and one that should never happen, even for the intended target to be hit. But for them to do that in such a callous, cold, senseless manner tells you what kind of people they are. I don't care that they're 17 years old. It doesn't matter to me. They don't care about people in this community, so let's put them where they belong. Let's not let them see the light of day ever again.
And Sheriff, just to clarify, this is now 6 total arrests?
Yes, that's correct.
And do you think this is a turning point in gang violence?
I think we've made a lot of strides in that direction for a while now. We're putting the right people in places where they belong, which is in prison or awaiting trial. We're going to continue to do that. I think a big reason we saw a decrease in what we saw last year, not all of it, but a big reason we saw the decrease is some of the things that we've done to try to prevent these things and finding the right people that are responsible for this stuff and getting them off of our streets.
Sheriff, what do you tell the other young people involved in gang activities?
Get out, quit, stop. There's a way out. Find something else to do with your time. Later for the excuses that kids don't have anything to do. There's a lot more to do. You can get a job someplace. You can do something other than commit acts of violence like this in our community. And if you don't get out, then we're going to come get you. Just the facts. We'll pay attention to you. We'll use all of our resources that we have to pay attention and get you off of our streets, because this is ridiculous. It should never happen.
Sheriff, how were you able to make these 2 arrests?
A lot of hard work. From the day it happened, they've been working night and day, literally. A large team of people have been working night and day along with our partners at the state attorney's office to make sure that the case is very strong, and we are prepared for the state to do what they need to do to continue on and take this case to a trial. So it's been a lot of hard work, but it's been going every day, all day. I'm getting updates all the time about what's going on, and it's very gratifying to be her agency and her city standing behind her.
Just clarify which game these 2 individuals played.
Which one is it? Get back.
6 o'clock.
Okay, as the sheriff's office, is there any youth gang programs that you guys can see starting up?
I probably said this about no less than 100 times. We have a violence reduction section totally committed to trying to help these young men find themselves in a position where they don't have to go to prison. They don't find themselves murdered. They don't murder someone. We go out every Thursday and we knock on doors and talk to young men that we know are involved in some of this stuff. It's up to them to make a choice. It's up to you to decide whether you want to be involved in it or not. You can laugh it off and say that it's not the case, but I can promise you that we're going to find you in a grave. We're going to find you shot in the street. You're going to shoot someone. We're going to put you in prison. Those are the facts. The evidence bears itself out. We've been doing this since 2016. This has been a long effort in our community, in our sheriff's office, that we've been doing, that will continue as long as I'm here. Thank y'all. Thanks for being here.
Local restaurant owners are noticing more.
Okay, so in this here story, these people dined and dashed. Y'all already know what color they are. And then they went straight online with it. You definitely know what color they are at this point. Well, it's a strange news story because I don't understand why people commit crimes and then tell on themselves. It's almost like you want bragging rights for committing the crime. I don't get it.
Now you see them and now you don't. We blur the video because the trio hasn't been charged yet, but you can't miss that distinctive blue wig and the massive tab they left behind.
The server went to the table. They asked for the ticket to be split. She left from this table behind me to a few steps away, clicked the button. As she left, they got up one at a time and walked out.
3 days ago, the three were to celebrate a birthday and left behind a surprise, an unpaid tab of over $200.
They actually ran out the door and ran and hid behind a service vehicle that was in traffic.
They decided to dine and dash after devouring chicken wings, Alfredo, and washing it all down with flights of drinks.
It's not violent, but it's a crime, and it affects us, and it affects our bottom line, and it affects our team members.
They were spotted on surveillance, leaving one by one within 30 seconds of the server stepping away. They also forgot that they signed up on the wait list before being seated, including their name and phone number. And to add insult to injury, they posted this onto social media, thanking the restaurant for the free food while laughing at waitstaff like Chloe Jackson.
I'm here 3 days a week.
Their greedy crime comes with a much heavier cost.
Some places do make the servers come out and pay for those bills, but Fab and Soul Vibes here, they don't make us pay for it. Well, that's really grateful because $300, $400 could really break our bank for that day.
Sadly, dine and dash incidents are on the rise. The owners run 2 Soul Vibes locations and 3 I Can't Believe.
How stupid can you be to sign up on the wait list with your name and number? And no, they wasn't smart enough to use a fake name and number. They used their real shit. It's petty crime, but they still got to go through the system for it and get probation or some fines. But yeah, it's just they could have not gotten caught had they not bragged. It's $200 though. Then they wanted to call somebody broke. 3 of them didn't have $200. It's somebody's birthday. Stole some damn chicken wings and Alfredo and free drinks.
Believe it's not meat restaurants. And in the last 6 months, they've seen an uptick in these type of incidents. These are just a few of the incidents they've recorded.
It's an industry of pennies and nickels. So when you get these dine and dash incidences, you know what I mean? You know, the consumer or the people who are doing this dine and dash might think, oh, it's just $100. Yeah, but it's hurting the bottom line.
Now, a police report was made. Chicago police are now investigating. If charged, the suspects could face a Class A misdemeanor for theft of services under the amount of $500. That's punishable by up to 1 year in jail and a $2,500 fine.
West Atlanta family is devastated by the death of their daughter, and now the Montgomery State University student Gianna Grimes.
Grimes was a proud member of the Alabama State University Honeybees dance team. Fox 5's Angelique Proctor joins us from Mays High School in Southwest Atlanta, which is where Gianna graduated from. Angelique?
Yeah, good afternoon to you both. Everybody who knew Gianna Grimes described her as a superstar. She was an extraordinary dancer who was even featured on Access Hollywood for her moves. But tonight, following her shooting, tells me they are with grief.
Grande splash. She went for high school graduation. She was always a showstopper dancer who dazzled a crowd. After leaving Atlanta, she went to Alabama State University and danced with the Honeybees dance team. She was known as Purple Doll and Strawberry. Her mom says she has lost her best friend.
She just had big dreams. That was my heart. Anybody can tell you, oh, we were like twins.
Authorities tell the family Gianna was riding in a car last week with a friend when a gun went off. Angela says the friend initially told Montgomery County deputies a 21-year-old killed herself. Now deputies tell the family they are working it as a death investigation. The family says they pray the truth will come out.
Do you think your daughter would kill herself? No. She wouldn't even touch the gun. She was afraid of guns.
9 months ago, Gianna added the title of mom to her accomplishments when she gave birth to her son, Rogers McLeod III. But she went back to school determined to follow her dreams and keep dancing and one day become an FBI agent. Her family and friends say they won't stop until justice is served.
full of life, full of energy. As you all just said earlier, super flexible, you know. She was a honeybee, which is a big girl dance line at ASU, but size does not matter. It did not stop her. She was splitting, pirouetting, doing all the things that any ballerina could do. And I think that's what allowed her to really stand out.
And Mom Angela tells us that Janiyah was actually up until 3:30 in the morning rehearsing the same day that she died. Her mom says she loved the stage and had a performance the next day and wouldn't have let anything stop her from being at that performance. We are live at Mays High School in Southwest Atlanta. Angelique Proctor, Fox 5 News.
Very sad. Your heart goes out to that mother. Angelique, thanks. Attorney.
Interested in it?
Okay. Trump had passed the law where we took the, unless this wasn't high school, but I thought he passed it where we took trans athletes out of sports. I thought we did, unless it was high school. I'm like, when does this shit take place? Because you see what had to happen. Now, fencing is a safe sport. You're covered in all types of protective gear. The points aren't sharpened or any of that. So she technically wouldn't have been in any physical danger in this particular sport, but I get her standing for the principle. Like, you're a man, bro. You're a man. I get it, but she would have been safe in this one. This ain't like boxing or nothing where this nigga was gonna be punching her. Well, I'm just confused why this shit, like, why do we even have to keep having these stories? Just like they have an NBA for men, they got a WNBA for women. They need to have them just a whole trans league. If you want to be tranny and play, they need to start up a tranny league for the tranny girls and a tranny league for the tranny boys and see how that goes. They need to be competing against people just like them, like every other sex has to do. Like, at what point are we going to stop playing with ourselves? No pun intended.
Female fencer stands up for fairness in women's sports. She did it by taking a knee and refusing to compete against a biological male at a tournament over the weekend. The referee's response, a black card, the sport's most severe penalty, which means expulsion from the tournament. Let's bring in the athlete at the center of it all, Stephanie Turner. Stephanie, thanks so much for being with us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
So this was an Olympic qualifying event. My understanding of it is. This was something that you had prepared all your life for. It wasn't an Olympic qualifying event. I'm sorry. I had heard that this morning.
No, it wasn't.
It was an important event, though. And this is something that you've been preparing for an awfully long time. You decided that you were going to take yourself out of the tournament. What was the thinking in leading up to the decision where you took a knee?
Right. So this was actually a regional tournament held by the USFA at the University of Maryland. So part of my pre-competition ritual is to check the online registration to see who is going to be there and just double check my check-in times. And on the registration list, I saw Redmond Sullivan's name listed there. And I recognized this individual from a previous Redux article that had been written stating that this person was a man who had previously competed on the men's team at Wagner and was now competing as a woman within the USFA. So from that point, I just got really disappointed with the USFA and with this tournament. And I just felt like at a loss. I'd already committed so much money to it and training hours. And I was literally looking forward to this. I do this tournament every year. Yeah. I think this may be like my 10th year in a row doing this tournament. And I just got really sad and I started crying because this was like the last thing I wanted to deal with in my competition.
So at one point in the video, so we see you take a knee and then the official comes over. What did you say to the official at that point?
So the official came over to me and asked if I was still, said, oh, and you're talking about initially or when I got the black card?
No, initially.
Initially, I told them that I was refusing defense because this person is a man and I am a woman and this is a women's tournament and I refuse to defense on principle.
And later, right after this, we see opponent at that point.
may be hurt. And I said, no, I am refusing to fence you because I'm a woman and you are a man. I have much love and respect for you, but I will not compete against you.
Wow.
And he responded, okay, well, there's a, yes.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm sorry, what was his response?
His response was, okay, but there's a member of the board of directors here, and there's a policy that says that I'm a woman in a tournament, and if you do this, you're going to get black carded. And I said, I know.
So here's what USA Fencing said in a statement to Fox News Digital. USA Fencing enacted our current transgender and non-binary athlete policy in 2023. The policy was designed to talk. What about inclusive, safe spaces for female athletes?
Right. There's nothing for me and there's everything for him, because I have no choice as a woman.
What USA
supports me.
I skipped it back because it was choppy.
There's a policy that says that I'm a woman and I'm allowed to compete in the women's tournament. And if you do this, you're going to get black carded. And I said, I know.
So here's what USA Fencing said in a statement to Fox News Digital. USA Fencing enacted our current transgender and non-binary athlete policy in 2023. The policy was designed to expand access to the sport of fencing and create inclusive, safe spaces. It goes on to talk more, but this idea about inclusive, safe spaces. What about inclusive, safe spaces for female athletes?
Right. There's nothing for me and there's everything for him, because I have no choice as a woman, as a female, in where I compete. I am a woman and I have an athletic disadvantage to men. So I compete in the women's division, which is where I rightfully am. But he has been given this opportunity to fence in the women's division, and he can easily compete in the men's division. He could also compete at mixed events in local tournaments if he wants. There is a place for him. So the idea that they're expanding the women's is just essentially, it ends up hurting me and other girls.
So you've got the support of Riley Gaines, who was on our network earlier today, and former tennis star Martina Navratilova, who put this out on X. She said, this is what happens when female athletes protest. Anyone here still think this is fair? I am fuming, and shame on USA Fencing. Shame on you for doing this. How dare you throw women under the gender BS bus? I mean, this doesn't come at the expense of male athletes. We don't see this in the flip side of the coin. This all comes at the expense of female athletes like yourself, like Riley Gaines. I mean, this is happening across the country,
right.
And to a large degree, women support this.
Right. It's happening in every sport and at every level. And there's really no option to go around this when there are extremists who take up positions within the authoritative body of the USFA. So I have very little option other than being forced to fence. And I have gone down other pathways, like back in 2012, I just didn't sign up to fence in the Div 1A women's foil because there was another transgender person that I'd recognized in that tournament. So, I mean, I've avoided it as much as I can, but at what point do I have to just avoid all tournaments altogether because there's going to be somebody who's trans there?
It's a tough choice. As you point out, your opponent had two choices: could compete as biological male or could compete in the women's. You have the choice of competing in the women's. So, Stephanie, thank you for telling your story. We really appreciate it.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.
I don't know if y'all can see it, but the title is Man Played Soccer with Decapitated Head. I say body cam, but I know they're not gonna show him actually playing soccer with the head. But damn, strange news story, huh?
Finger? Yeah. Yeah. So we're missing the middle finger on the right hand. Laps all over the hands. Okay, so we may have over here. And then there's more stab wounds on the back.
It was a gruesome discovery. A lifeless New Mexico. But something else missing too. I'm Elizabeth Milner with Law & Order. Every day see horrible, brutal cases. And that's the only way to really describe this case. Brutal. A man in New Mexico was accused of decapitating another man and using the victim's head like a soccer ball. I'm not exaggerating. That's exactly what happened in this case.
There's somebody just laying there
It began with a call to 911 on June 21st of 2021.
So I was just driving right, and I pulled in top of the car, and I seen there was a body laying on the floor, and then I think his head was on the Apple car going in and water bridge. I was pulling in the car, and then I seen the floor, and I thought it was a traffic cone, and then I seen his face.
A staticky call, yes, but the gist hard to imagine, right? A headless body in a park. So officers rushed over to investigate.
For everybody to stand, and then go up with the body of the head. Like, taking normal.
The blurred image you see was the decapitated body, and the head just a few feet away.
You don't stand off that part. Don't even go to the park. Let it be on salon stuff. You'll see us. Five minutes. 801 is the address for the market. The little blood spots are. First impact and then roll.
Sure. Them New Mexicans is crazy. See what I did there? Because they're from New Mexico. Them New Mexicans crazy.
If you're ever curious on who you're surrounding yourself with, that's where our sponsor. And it's just like how it sounds. Their goal is to help people like you and me learn the truth about the people in our very lives. How it works is first can get 50% off anyone.
Yeah. Pull right there. Listen. Yeah, because there's blood right there.
Or kick it. Yeah. Well, that's one thing you probably need to do is look at his shoes. He's got any blood on the top of his shoes too. So we're gonna need all this. We're gonna need all of this building.
They lose their weight. They've been bitching to Chief that this guy was.
What's the time you stand on the
Black Mickey? I can't really make it out. It's a scorpion and then maybe a nice big eye or a nice big eye.
So like a duck.
Looks like the around we're looking at. Like possibly right here.
See, there's something shiny.
Yeah, like you spit on it?
Like maybe you spit on it?
Yeah.
That's what I'm
There
thinking.
and there.
Because that's what it kind of looks like. I mean, I could be wrong.
Missing a finger? Yeah.
Is it freshly cut off?
Yeah. So we're missing the middle finger on the right hand. Black all over the hands.
So we may find it over here.
And then there's multiple stab wounds on the back.
Yeah.
That'd be like slices. What was this finger? The middle one?
Right hand finger cut off, might fall back.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know. We can make sure that we do. We have a lot bigger process.
Yeah.
It's going to be a bigger scene than what we're thinking.
So let's all slide back so that Arna can take photos, take that same path that we were planning on. Turn your lights up. Hey, Ortiz, light up the stuff again. That's their camp, or what we believe to be their stuff, or one of their stuff. Ricky, that's his middle finger, right? So that we have an idea if they want to come look any further. We'll use the crack and the watermelon to the outside rock. Into the outside of the rock? To the rock. No, I don't know which way we're going. Yeah, fingers right there in the full of blood, and there's a heart full of blood there. Yeah. Oh, fuck, did you get over there? That's why there's on the curb, and you see, I can see it right there. So there's your drag mark there. Is there blood over there too? We'll walk that way. So let's back up this way. Go back to the rock. And then so that we can process the when in doubt, type it out. Are you guys staying in a specific area?
Yeah, that's what we watching now. Tire marks?
Yeah.
But those look a little bit pressure. So that's what I was wondering.
Let's get back in a single file. Significant with the bike?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go left, and we'll stay on this line. So left of the. There's wherever it is. Yeah. No. Yes, with us? No, just over.
Oh, okay.
On the outside of that rock.
Stab wounds, severed fingers, a decapitated head, drag marks. I mean, what happened to the victim was nothing short of brutal. But who was this person? According to police, it was 51-year-old James Garcia. So that's going to lead to the next question. Who did this? Just hours after James's body was discovered, they already had a suspect. A man found near the park with dried blood on his hands and a bloody knife near him. And that was Joel Astanega Signs.
Joel. So I'm just trying to find out more information about James. So was he your boyfriend? Were you guys dating each other? Okay. Were you guys in some kind of lovers quarrel? No. Like, because he's your boyfriend, you guys got in an argument? That's just what I'm getting. You tell me, man. I'm not calling you gay. Yeah, I'm not judging you. You married? Who you married to? You married to James? You married to James? Huh? No, I'm not insulting you. I'm not calling you gay.
Why are you calling me gay? We're not calling you gay. We're just
I didn't call you gay. I said, are you married to James?
No.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to find out why James is dead in a park and you were having his blood all over your hands.
I'm not gay. I bet you are.
Okay.
Not a gay New Mexican.
Okay. So is that why you attacked James tonight? Because he called you gay? Is it because James is gay? I'm asking you. I'm not lying about anything.
I'm just saying, look how
You're telling me I don't know that everything.
Hey man, do y'all see how cool and calm and collected this nigga is after he done chopped somebody's head off and played soccer? And he can't even play the mental illness card because he like, bro, why you calling me gay? Are you calling me gay, nigga? What's up with you? I will kill you, nigga. He is too cool for me. Truth, what you doing?
I'm listening.
Nigga, him. Them New Mexicans, boy. These New Mexicans is dangerous. Look at him. He look like he might be a killer for the cartel. Is he in handcuffs? Like, what the fuck? Look how he laid back.
Chilling.
Like he got his hands in his pockets and his feet kicked up. You said what?
Chilling.
He look like he kicked back, man. Like, shit, what's up, Holmes? Just take me to my cell. Apparently, New Mexicans don't know how to say lawyer. They don't know how to say that either. Otherwise, we would have a lot of interrogation footage where people would just be like lawyer, and it would end until they got a lawyer, and then we would see a lot of gents where the lawyer would tell them don't answer that, and it wouldn't really be a shit for us to watch if people ask for lawyers actually. Now, if they're not interrogating you, you don't need a lawyer. But if they're questioning you, if it's any division where you got to come down and speak with a detective, you need a damn lawyer. Did it play?
I'm not that kind of a child. Yes. Okay. So then tell me about James. Tell me about James. Is that why you're pissed off? Because James thought you were gay? Did James hit on you? He make some kind of advance towards you that you didn't like?
I told you I was gay. That white lady that came in?
No.
Is that big that you could hear her telling you?
Yeah.
Don't call me gay.
Okay, well, I mean, if that's what you feel like you want to do. I'm not calling you gay, I'm asking you. I did not. Husband.
I asked you if I was here.
Yeah, I told you that's not.
Why did you ask?
Well, I'm trying to find out why your blood, or why James's blood is all over you. So, if you guess?
No.
So, he did.
You self-figured.
Do I? Well, then help me out. I don't want to fight you.
Well, it's my coach.
I don't want to fight you.
Don't call me gay.
I'm not calling you gay. Okay, what?
I'm gonna ask the police, do you want to fight me?
Okay, I apologize. So, well, I'm not lying. I'm trying to figure out your relationship.
That white lady's just.
The white lady's what? Okay.
Why can't she come here and ask me? Why she has to stand the other side?
Help us out, James. Clarify it for us. No, that's what I'm doing. I'm asking you questions. I'm not doing anything. I'm not trying to act like I'm tough out. Am I? Okay. Tell me. Okay. So then what happened tonight? Okay, so here's what I think happened. You and James are in a relationship. He said something to you, and you killed him.
Where did you hear that? Is it Baker?
Who's Baker?
The white lady that came in.
No? Is that what happened? Okay.
The first 5 minutes of the interrogation doesn't seem to be going well. Joel remains soft-spoken, more offended by the questioning of his sexuality than the fact he's in a police interrogation room being asked about a murder.
You used to use it, so do you still use it? We have records of you using it, so. You're still using it? No. Good. How long have you been clean for? Okay, how come we have records of you? You don't have.
Man, what's up with the lighting in there? How does shit just go yellow?
That's confidential information. Well, I mean, charges. Just asking for students. Shit, I saw the video. What did you? Yeah, I know. So you make yours. So if she's the one that gave you the information that you were using heroin, you told me to some shit. You still using them? Never done heroin. Really? She's never done any drugs whatsoever. I don't know what your records are. You drink? Alcohol? Alcohol. What about prescription medication? No? You diagnosed with any mental illness or anything like that? No. So recently you were arrested for vandalism, right? Yeah. You know vandalism, and you were charged with it. You know that. You were arrested. More than half you're arrested. You got arrested for it. You know what vandalism is. One cop shop, right? That's what it was.
Yeah, Beck's coffee shop there in town.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sure you didn't because you vandalized it.
You broke all the windows to it.
What else did I don't know. You tell me. You're the one that did it, right? Did I do? Yeah, that's why you got charged with it. Russ been charged with. I don't know. What have you been charged with? I haven't been charged with anything, so. I've been charged with plagiarism. Oh, yeah? Been charged with murder before? Yeah, their daughter. Been charged with murder before? Yeah, their daughter. Great. Yeah? Anything else been charged with besides murder and vandalism? What's Cassie Baker's daughter? I don't know Cassie Baker's. It's your sister, right? No. She has a son named Rustin. I'm badass. I'm going to do a whole job out right now. Neither just what? Yes, you're
Coffee shop. Remember what you got charged with to do that? And you drink coffee, you still vandalize it, right? That's what you did. So,
Joel told detectives he was homeless, but would sleep at the same park where James's body was found, but still denied knowing James. Also, despite detectives finding him with lots of blood on himself.
you hang around that park quite a bit or no?
sometimes I have too much. I've been there a couple times. I think I'll stay out of that area.
Where do you usually hang out at? You're out of there. So public place. You know, you're covered in blood. We did those swabs for me. Yeah, that's what's funny. We're going to send that out the lab. It's going to come back with James' blood. It's back to James' Garcia's blood. It's going to be on your hands. James Garcia's dead.
But it's, I've never seen it.
You ever seen that guy? But how's his blood on your hands? You don't know? Right there. That's all it says. Because you stabbed him, right? That's how it happened. Yep. Isn't that true? Yep. So why did you kill that guy?
Because he raped my wife.
He raped your wife. When did this happen?
4 years ago.
4 years ago? What's that?
We're all homeless.
You guys are all homies.
Homeless.
Homeless, I'm sorry. Where did that happen at?
This seems like
Because you raped your wife 4 years ago.
yes.
How did you?
Those are our bags that you have to go steal from us.
Okay. Which bags are yours?
3 backpacks belong to 2 friends.
Okay.
I wanted to get them back. I just tried to take them before the gun on the east side. So yeah, I have no choice now.
And what else did you do? Okay. Because you had your bags. What knife did you use?
I don't know. Some kind of hand.
He had it?
Yeah, I pulled it off.
You pulled it off of him?
Yeah, because he tried to take. I just wanted the bags back.
Okay.
He had a gun. He had a knife.
What kind of gun was it?
I got a little 22.
Did you see what color it was?
Is it black or brown? I just want to make myself.
Okay.
And he did. That's it.
You played soccer with his head?
Yeah.
How many cars passed by you?
About 14 cars passed by me all.
Really?
Yeah, that's the most biggest one.
What time did this all happen at?
4:59.
Was it dark outside or was it light outside? Pitch black. Did you use the same knife that you stabbed him with to cut his head off?
What? Oh.
Did the knife that you stabbed him with, is that the same knife you used to cut his head off?
Yeah. He had like a switchblade or something.
And that's what you used?
Yeah.
Where's that gun at now?
I don't know.
You just left it there?
Yeah, I don't know if you guys were coming.
Was anybody else around?
No, it was just a strip.
Okay.
Chilling is an understatement to describe how coldly Joelle just admitted to 1, stabbing James multiple times, more than 80 according to detectives, and 2, cutting his head off with a switchblade. The motive behind it was the alleged rape of Joelle's wife years ago, but Joelle refused to ID his wife. But then he claimed James stole Joelle and his wife's belongings, and that's what led to the brutal confrontation. Joelle was ultimately charged with first-degree murder. So this gruesome murder happened back in 2021, but Joelle wasn't tried until 2025. It was a lengthy process because Joelle's mental competency to stand trial was challenged, pushing the process back years. But earlier this month, a jury found him guilty of first-degree murder. And the trial didn't last very long. Online records show the jury was sworn in on March 3rd, and Joelle was found guilty on March 5th. He hasn't been sentenced just yet. His sentencing hearing is set for April 10th. Reporting for Law and Crime, I'm Elizabeth Miller.
Okay, y'all. Man.
You know, there's a short life in
we said on this podcast, and he got the world buzzing right now. Puff Daddy tried to fuck him. Yeah, truth. Puff Daddy tried to fuck him.
You know, there's a short life in
Why do you think that is? What the creative side is?
Well, because losing out money, you got to take drugs. You're going through so much shit to try and deal with life. You are literally, it's an unhealthy space. And so eventually you're going to go too far. You know, who knows what happened to Philip? Who knows what he had to do in order to get to where he was at? There's a lot of things that people do that end up sitting and they can't get over it. And they got to keep getting high, hoping to get it out of their head. You know, but when you lose your man card, that's the only thing I can think of. You lose your damn man card.
What is that? What do you mean by that?
You give up your ability, your right to being a man. A man don't take it. A man gives it. So when you give up that man card, you don't get that.
I'm gonna just say, when you fucked your uncle and you had a baby, that would lead you to drink every day too. Every single day. Trying to escape the realities of the fact that you fucked your uncle and had a baby. And then also, if you had to live with the reality that your mama took you to the man who played with your booty hole over and over and over and over again and made you gay, then you would, you know, drink and smoke crack and all the other types of drugs that you do over and over and over and over again to escape the reality that you ain't like dick until your mama took you to that man and he played with your booty hole over and over and over and over again. So Terrence Howard is really preaching on this jet right here about how people with traumas be abusing alcohol and crack sometimes to escape their traumas.
Are you saying what I think you're saying?
No, I'm saying what I'm saying. You don't get that back. You come into this world as a man one time. You give up that right for anything, for fear of being hurt, fear of somebody doing something, for wanting to gain something. When you give up that man card right, you lose some spiritual energy that has always been pushing through. Like if a woman gives up her womanly right of being a mother and taking care of her family and do all those things, when you give up those things, but when you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to.
Damn. Come on, somebody. Truth is, you hearing this? He's preaching today. Gabe, close the doors. Y'all, we need money. We need money for this message. It costs to sit here. Everybody, I need $1 from everybody in the chat. Gabe, close the doors. I said close those doors. Gabe, close the doors. I don't know where Sister Truth is. She said I don't know what, she always in the damn break room.
What the hell you want?
Fellowship. She always in the damn fellowship hall.
Don't talk about me.
Why are you in the fellowship hall, Sister Truth?
I am not in the
y'all hear, do y'all hear the food papers rambling?
Oh,
she rattling paper. I just told him you always in the fellowship hall. You done came back.
I got the fried chicken.
Shit.
I got the fried chicken, damn it. Damn.
I forgot she got 5 for fucking up the church's chickens. You got 5 for fucking up the church's chicken, man.
So did and was
You
mad
got one
about it.
job.
Mad about it too.
And I'm sure the church had a deep fry too, so it wasn't hard.
I'm telling you, deep fries.
That
Let
wasn't
me tell
making her
you
fry
something.
no 100 pieces of chicken in no skillet.
Deep fries are the bomb. You know, I never really did a deep fry because I try not to eat a whole lot of deep fried foods. But baby, when I tell you the deep fry is a blessing, you hear me? You ain't got to worry about
Like
flipping
preacher,
and turning and shit.
Let me skip this back.
You got to worry about none of that.
I ain't, like when I did this, I was only focusing on Diddy. But now that I'm listening to this man, he is preaching. You only get to come in the world with your manhood once, and for your mama to walk you to the nigga that played with your booty over and over and over again, which took your manhood, man. I can see why the nigga smoke crack. I don't know why he just ain't jumped off Ambassador Bridge, but I see why he smoked
Ooh,
crack.
don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that.
I see why the nigga. I see why he get to stay in a place for homeless people with mental and physical issues. You know the nigga ain't physically disabled, so is he got mental issues, or is he walking around with the wheelchair and the cane still? I get it.
I don't know them people.
Right. Of being a mother and taking care of her family and being
I don't either, but I remember they stories. I don't know them, but when I do a story, I don't be forgetting and stuff of that nature. So I kind of the parallel just jumped out right quick, just pow, right in the kisser. Hey man, you just gotta imagine after your mama gave your booty hole away over and over again, she left you out the wheel. Man, I would still be smoking crack and drinking Rocktown and shit every day too. This nigga probably drink rub and alcohol when he down bad. Just be real. You don't think this nigga drank some Listerine? Y'all don't think Mike had never been on a corner with some rub and alcohol in his pocket? Talking about, buy me some, nephew. You you've never seen this shit.
Oh shit.
Okay. Okay, I'm done. Back to Diddy wanting to fuck pussy. I mean, I'm done. I'm done. This is about Diddy wanting to fuck Terrence. Thank you for the $1 cash out. Thank you. Hold on. Somebody listen. The rest of y'all gave the Doge lock game. Shit. All we was trying to get was a miracle of $11 damn. We 10 shout. We ain't leaving this motherfucker until we get $10. 10 more. Where's my drop? I can't find it. And then Goodwill said he might come back on YouTube like in a couple after he get his first paycheck. You know, they hold
You a
back.
lie. You a lie.
In the bougie, like he did.
So you talk to him?
I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? Cause yeah, my folks talk to him. Damn it, where's the? Did I? Oh, okay.
We appreciate $1, but we would rather have 10. We appreciate $20, but we would rather have 50. We appreciate $50, but we would rather have 100. We appreciate $100, but we would rather have 200. Thank you, Sister Avanti, $10 coming on the Cash App. Thank you, sister. Next time, make it 20, but thank you for that 10. I know you barely had that. Thank you, sister.
I'm telling you.
But when you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Get punked out and pimped out by some over greater desire. You shouldn't have a greater desire than being a man. So I believe that's a big problem with a lot of the actors out there because they get fluid. And next thing you know, once you go fluid, it's gone.
When your mama punk you out and pimp you out, that's a whole nother layer of diabolicism. That is diabolical to the 10th degree. When it's your own mama, your mama. Damn, my bad. See, I'm sorry. He keep just hitting on shit. Mike mama was going to spades parties and shit, and she sent him in the room with the faggot and turned her. See, he ain't recovered from it. The man is almost 60. He look old in the bitch. If you've seen the pictures, he looked 70. It's a new man. He stay around crazy people. He eating his life away. He gonna have a heart attack on live because he eats 17 times a day. It's just ridiculous. And then he stay calling somebody fat. And he look like Tim Allen on the Santa Claus. It's just crazy.
You don't have any foundation to pull yourself back from. So maintain your man card, no matter what.
Man, I mean, you know, one of the things you're seeing, you went to a whole different place.
Sorry.
No, I get it. So you see some guys struggling with that. You see Bieber struggling with that. You see some of these guys struggling with that.
They can't get it out of their head. They can't get it out of their head. The things that they did, no matter how they ever, you gave up your man card. You need therapy. And that's the thing that hurts them the most. And so they end up on drugs, end up every way to try and get rid of any principles there are. And that's what the business does. And the women that trade their bodies to go and get the role, they get to the point where they have their Oscar, they have their money.
You slept with your uncle. You need therapy. Yes. Organic beer ain't gonna take that away. You gotta admit that shit to yourself.
But they don't have their dream. They don't have the soul that they started with. So it's like achieving don't mean anything. If I get all the Nobel Prizes from doing all of this, but in the process, I have to trade out all of my integrity to do it so that they can stay in place. What benefit is that if I lose my integrity? You got to go in as a principal. And what we were brought in here as men. We produce 1,500 sperm per heartbeat for a reason, because the aggression is necessary. You don't trade that in, no matter what.
Did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah.
What was the consequences when you said no?
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and play the music. And he's sitting there just looking at me, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to fuck you. That's what my assistant said. I was like, oh, okay. Now I get it. So now no more communication. Now you know to be hands off with somebody. A number of producers come in to make the approach, and you threaten to punch them in the mouth or threaten to knock their head off for talking to you or looking at you like you're a woman. When you approach a real man about his masculinity, you're going to get a real reaction back. It's a difference when a guy walks in a room and when a man walks into a room.
He said Diddy knew not to try me, but he tried me by just looking at me. Inviting the nigga over, just staring and shit. But he knew not to come at me like some of these grown men that are suing him allege he did to them, and y'all took it. That's what he talking about. He talking about Lil Rod, and I forgot this other nigga this other producer that just came out, as producer, executive, and all that shit, saying Diddy made him give him hand. Kirk Burroughs. Kirk Burroughs is saying Diddy made him give him hand jobs, have sex with him, and all types of shit. Like, nigga, you took it. And Gene Deal gonna say, well, maybe he thought he was gonna lose his job. Man, fuck that job. You must have liked doing the shit that you did. Otherwise, you would have said, fuck that job. You know how many jobs niggas have walked out on for less shit? They boss talking to them crazy, and they fuck this job and just leave it. They what the fuck? That might be the best job they never had. They still like, fuck it, you ain't gonna talk to me like that. These niggas was willing to be penetrated and do gay shit for a job. And now they suing. You don't get to enjoy the shit, and now you suing. You wasn't embarrassed when you was constantly doing the shit.
And a man don't take the same things that a guy will accept. So always be the man in the room. And that's always been my whole thing. And have lost businesses because I don't bend over in that way. I don't compromise. I don't play gay roles. I don't kiss a man. I don't do that shit because the man card means everything.
I had no idea we're going to go this direction with the podcast. This is absolute. But listen, we've talked about it. We've had a lot of the guys on to talk about this stuff. Are you done with Hollywood? Because
no, I mean, I'm still working. I still,
Well, I get it. You don't do the gay role and shit of that nature, but nigga, you was the lead on motherfucking Empire where you had a gay son. Yes, you portrayed the gangster daddy that threw him in the trash, but that's some fucked up shit in itself because they're still your seed. But you could have told them, hey, if my son on here is gay, you gotta find a new lead. And you didn't. You went for the money. You was okay knowing that the nigga that's your son, your co-star, Jussie, was kissing niggas on screen. And I don't think he was the only gay person on scenes and shit of that nature in there. So stop it. You ain't that offended by the shit.
No, I haven't made the money necessary to do all of the other stuff. So I still have to go and do the Chitlin circuit. I still have to do the job that I need to, but eventually I've done what I set out to do, which was to redefine the universe. I've proven what I've set out to do, and that's why I have all the patents. Whether they evaluate it or not, that's up to them. But I've done the work and finished it. Now I can go on and do whatever else we need to do. Hi, everyone. My name is
He just being crazy.
Howard. I'm an actor. But
get the fuck up out of here. Okay, outside of the lines. What the hell?
Legs, hitting him, choking him, even.
Okay, I see that was choppy. This headline is Parents Whipped and Tortured Son for Coloring Outside of the Lines.
Quote, torture. We're on the case presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. I don't even know where to begin on what in Kentucky to use duct tape on a child, and that's not even the most horrifying part. Here's of the two parents police say are responsible for the I don't even know where to begin on what police are alleging happened in Kentucky. At what point does a parent think it's okay to use duct tape on a child? And that's not even the most horrifying part of what police are alleging happened. Here's pictures of the two parents police say are responsible for the horrifying details that I'm about to lay out for you. Their names, Ricky North and Nicole North. This is the release that Middlesboro, Kentucky police put out on March 30th. Along with these pictures, there are pictures of them being taken into custody. Middlesboro, it's a rural community, coal mining town just north of the Tennessee border. The town actually made headlines in 2020 when heavy rains led to 4 hours before they were safely rescued. If that town's name rings a bell for you. The story, though, doesn't appear to have the same uplifting ending. Stepmom. Now, if you watch a law and crime, in too many of these cases, we see parents who publicly present themselves as loving, but what police say happens behind closed doors inside their home is much different. And that appears to be the case here. The Norths have several pictures of them being loving parents. They have several pictures presenting that loving household. Nicole made sure that she let people know that she was a mom. She reposted this in November of last year from an account called Mouthy Mamas, a post that says, quote, "As a mama, my job is never done. There will always be something else, and I'm gonna be there getting it done for my babies." Nothing you would expect from a mother now accused of abuse and the details that we're about to break down. She also posted images from youth baseball and time with their family, like you would expect a loving mom to do. She also posted this in 2021 about her husband, who's now her co-accused child abuser. Quote, "Spending the rest of my life with you couldn't get here any slower. Thank you for loving me and our daughter the way you do. God broke the mold with you, babe. I promise to love you for as long as you let me. There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do for you, Ricky Dwayne." Speaking of Ricky, here's his mugshot. On social media, he gives a very similar vibe as a loving father who loves his wife and his kids. And we did notice in January last year, he posted, quote, "I love my gorgeous girls with my whole heart. I'm such a blessed man and father to have you all. I couldn't live without you." Police say the victim in this case is North's 5-year-old son. Now, there are still a lot of questions about the access that the Norths had to this boy. It is unclear what custody looked like. We know through social media pictures that the Norths have 2 girls, as we see several photos of a family of 4. Now, let's break down what police say this couple did to this young boy. And again, I'll warn you, these details are not easy to talk about and they're not easy to hear. According to police, the 2 suspects unleashed a variety of punishments on this child, including when he would draw outside the lines on his schoolwork. Police say they intentionally abused this 5-year-old by duct taping his arms and legs, punishing him with cold showers, punching him, slapping him in the head and face. And they would also allegedly choke that boy and body slam him, even whip him for drawing outside the lines when coloring, as so many 5-year-olds do when they color. Police go on to say that the Norths would allegedly hold this child by his ankles and slam his head numerous times on the ground and on the floor. Now, this line really got me. Police say in their press release that this child was subjected to, quote, "torture, cruel confinement, and cruel punishment on numerous occasions while in Mr. and Mrs. North's care." I want to take a moment to turn to a law and crime legal alert. Did you know that children are being diagnosed with serious conditions like type 2 diabetes and non-alcoholic fatty liver disease? And research is suggesting that ultra-processed foods are a reason why. And that is where Morgan & Morgan is stepping in to help. This is a company with decades of experience fighting large corporations, and they're ready to stand up for families who deserve justice. So if your child or someone you know under the age of 21, again, that's really tough to read. This condition is right now. What was the moment that police knew they had to make an arrest in this case? And it's also unclear what the status is of the 2 young children that the Norths appear to have from what we've seen on social media. We do know where the Norths are right now, though. At the time of this recording, both of them are still in the Bell County, Kentucky jail, and they're being held on $100,000 bonds. Online jail records show that both are charged with first-degree criminal abuse of a child 12 or under, tampering with physical evidence, strangulation in the first degree, and failure to report child-dependent neglect abuse. The online jail records show that the date of abuse for these charges was March 30th. Police say the alleged abuse happened on multiple occasions. We don't have details right now on how often they believe this happened or what tipped them off to this case. Join us now to talk about this case, and it is a difficult one. Tom Smith, former NYPD detective and now co-host of the Gold Shield podcast. Thanks as always for taking time to be with us here on Law and Crime. Police in this case in Kentucky laid out in this release that we have a lot of detail about what they say these parents did to this young 5-year-old boy. In cases you've investigated related to child abuse, what does the investigation typically look like? How do you gather so many specific details like police have in this case?
Well, first of all, it is one of the most difficult cases a detective can be involved in. When you're dealing with a child, it is always difficult to navigate and just keep your emotions in check because they're the most vulnerable. And yet they're the most abused. And that is heartbreaking. But when it comes to the investigation, you want it done correctly because you don't want any slip ups and you don't want anything to stay in the way of these people going to jail for as long as possible. And a lot of it is interviews. Yes, you can interview the victim. In this case is a 5-year-old boy. That's done completely different than anybody else, obviously. But you want to get a sense of the history of this family. And that's going to entail interviewing neighbors, schools, coaches, whoever might have been involved in this young boy's life to see if there were any signs of abuse or neglect or anything like that.
Yeah, and it's just, I mean, one thing after another. When it comes to interviewing, from what police have laid out, we have not seen pictures. I'm sure those are very difficult if there's physical evidence that they were able to point to when making these arrests. But how, as an investigator, do you go about interviewing a 5-year-old about what happened, especially like in this case, if it's allegedly at the hands of the people you would assume that they still see as the authority figures in their lives as parents?
Yeah, you're going to do it very slowly and very methodically, and you're going to have the professionals who deal with children all the time be involved in that interview because it has to be done a certain way. It's not going to be done in an interview room, obviously. You could interview that child on the floor playing a game. You know, there's so many different ways you can do it to make that child feel comfortable and feel safe and feel like, you know, he's in a good place now. Some of the problems sometimes with children is they don't want to get their parents in trouble because they can't equate what happened to them as being wrong because they don't know any better. So when you sometimes deal with children, you have to make sure that you express upon them that they're safe and what happened to them is wrong because they will hold on to what happened because they don't want to get mom and dad in trouble.
One thing I struggle with, and I've seen it a couple times in cases like this that we've had on our show, is you look at the social media for these parents if it's still public after their arrest, and you would think, I mean, it's the presenting the image that these are the most loving parents you've ever. You know, they're posting on. I know that social media is a world, and in a lot of ways, is not the reality. They have the stark difference of a woman and a mom's just never on social. She's accused allegations to explain in a lot of ways, but from a police officer standpoint, strong can have.
Well, it's just the cover. It's part of the persona. When it's a nightmare, whether it's stalkers, whether it's domestic abuse or child abuse, you will see that neighbors will get interviewed about horrific events that happen to their next door neighbors. They're always involved in their kids' activities, but don't know what happens behind those walls. And that's where this deception comes into play.
Stopping abuse of all kinds. I mean, it's a major problem across the country, whether it's a romantic relationship or in the case of this, parents allegedly on a child. What typically have you seen in your career when it comes to the causes of how it gets to this point in a family relationship that someone is inflicting this type of alleged abuse on someone so young and so vulnerable?
Well, it could be a number of things, Chris. You can obviously go back to the parents' upbringing and how they were disciplined and how they were brought up is always a contributing factor when it comes to this. And, you know, there's a number of other things. Is there alcohol involved? Is there drug abuse involved? So all of that compounds into this abuse that happens to these children. And sometimes they start off at a certain level of spanking them or disciplining them in a certain way. And then it just graduates and it gradually gets worse and worse and worse. And thankfully, these two are under arrest, which saved this young boy's life, because this would have ended up very different if this didn't take place. This kid would probably be dead, if not now, in the near future.
It's chilling, especially, I mean, apparently one of the sources of abuse was he would draw outside the lines. He's 5 years old. You know, that's what 5-year-olds, you know, really still a toddler, what they do. It's just so hard to comprehend. What is the interview process like when you sit down, you know, with these parents in these types of cases? What are the questions you ask to try to put together a narrative of what happened?
Well, it depends which one you're interviewing. You know, I was thinking of this before the show, and my plan would be who's gonna tell on who's the missing link, who's the weak link, and that's who you go after, because you want the story out there. But it's going to be, how did it get to this? What happened in the house? How did this become at this level of abuse, and where are the origins of it? But you would do one at a time, because one of them is going to lean towards the other one a little bit more. And that's going to give you the ability to get more in depth into the interview of what each participant's role was in the abuse. And that's typically what happens when it comes to two people involved in one child's abuse.
It's impossible to comprehend that someone would do this. And if these allegations are true, there's no excuse or a way to explain it away. But in your experience, when you've talked to people who have committed these types of crimes, I mean, how aware are they that they are a child abuser? up until the point that they're arrested and face charges like this couple apparently.
A lot of times they don't, because they just think it's the norm. Because going back to what I said before, if they were raised that way and they went through typical or similar abuses, they're going to think that's just the way families are run. And a lot of times they're very dismissive about what happened or what took place. And that's the sad part of it. And that's the mental part of this. When you get into the, mental deficiencies of some parents in the abusing that's going on, is when it gets really, really complicated. And it's hard to wrap your head around how you could do this to your own child. And we all feel that way.
Yeah, it's sickening, these allegations. Dynamic of this story too is the woman, Nicole North. She is the stepmom of this 5-year-old boy. Recently, I've been covering a lot of a story that people know out of Waterbury, Connecticut, of Kimberly Sullivan. She allegedly held her stepson captive in a home for 20 years. This was the man who was 32 years old and was rescued. He weighed 68 pounds. Very different story, very different situation from this story that we're covering out of Kentucky. But you have that element of a step parent and a stepchild, and someone who's accused of abuse as a step parent on that stepchild. What is it about that dynamic that just seems to come up a lot in some of these criminal cases?
It's mind blowing. I can't understand how you have a step individual, mother or father, come into a situation and it's not their child, but yet they're involved in abusing that child, and the biological parent is okay with that. Or the chances of one finding the other and both have the same mindset of abuse is okay and we're going to do this to this child is unfathomable to think about. It's just incredible that two people not together and not having this child in common can come together to have the same mindset of abusing them. It's incredible to think about. It's so very sad.
It is. And you bring up a good point, because even if it's the biological mom, I mean, it doesn't really matter, right? These are two abusers allegedly on a 5-year-old child. And somehow, some way, two people who would commit these crimes allegedly together find each other in this world. It's hard to comprehend. When you look at these cases, and we talk about them all too often, what do you see as some of the, because this apparently they were arrested on March 30th, but police say this was a long pattern, and they have so much detail that they just put out. We haven't seen even the police report yet, but just even the bullet points of this are tough to read. What are some of the warning signs that people on the outside, not in law enforcement, maybe not even in a school, can know about, so they know how to identify some of these cases if they see it out in public?
Yeah, I was just going to get into that. You hope, during the course of this investigation, if nothing was missed, if somebody missed something, but it's up to, teachers who are around these children a lot to pick up warning signs. Are they quiet? Are they by themselves? Are they, not involved in normal child behavior? Are there any bruising or markings on them? And that goes for, neighbors as well. What do they like outside? Anything you hear, any arguments in the house. There's so much that goes into the background when it comes to abuse of children, that so many people are involved. Was Child Protective Services ever called on them? So these are all different factors that are going to go into this investigation, and hopefully no one missed something. That's going to just compound this to even more of a sad story. If there were signs out there and people did somewhat have a clue about what was going on and said nothing about it, that's going to be really bad.
Yeah, because I think in so many cases there are warning signs. Red flags is the cliche term that's missed. I mean, in these types of cases, in your experience, how common is there after the arrest is made that someone comes forward and says, I figured that something like that was happening inside this home because I saw this or I saw that, and it's someone who could have come forward and said something that potentially could have stopped this sooner?
No, it happens way too often. And the commonality is it's not my business. I don't want to get involved, in things like that. And you see it not just in child abuse cases, Chris, but you see it in other things. How many times has there been a school shooting and they go and do interviews of students and they go, yeah, I thought something was wrong with that person. It happens all the time, and people need to step up and make that phone call, make it anonymous, whatever you need to do. But you have to get that ball rolling and stop these animals and these criminals from committing these crimes against children or anybody else. You have to step up and just be part of it and be involved to stop this.
Whether it's Child Protective Services or DCF, and at least on the outside, it feels like it's a job that you often only hear about in the bad cases, when they miss something, when someone falls through the cracks. I mean, the case in Connecticut that I was talking about is a prime example of that. And we don't know what interaction the DCF or the Kentucky equivalent of that had with the parents in this story. In your experience, I mean, I know we hear how overwhelmed a lot of these social workers are. How much confidence do you have in these Child Protective Services groups and organizations through whatever state it may be to handle these cases? Because unfortunately there are so many, and they do have such heavy workloads.
Yeah, I think they do a good job. And like you said, they're probably overwhelmed, but the difference is you only hear about the bad ones. You know, how many countless cases are they helping children? You know, you're not going to hear those stories because of those numbers probably are every day that they're helping children get out of bad situations. You hear about the bad ones and then it kind of inflates, you know, maybe the numbers of what's going on and what they're missing. But I think overall, with what they have and the employees that they have, with the sheer number of cases, I think they're doing a good job. Could they use more help and more resources? Absolutely. And I think that should be a priority on a state and local level.
What is the future? And we don't know the future for this boy, but I assume, and we don't know what his biological mother, her identity, what the relationship was, what custody looked like. That hasn't been unveiled as of yet. But let's just say that he spent a lot of time at this house and maybe the dad had full custody. I mean, what happens and what does the system do in these cases where someone like this has been allegedly abused so bad, and now both of those guardians are behind bars, both being held on a $100,000 bond, which, by the way, doesn't seem like they're going to be able to get out,
Right.
at least in the short term.
Yeah, you're gonna make the decision that's best for that child and where they can be, and it's going to be a deep dive into family members and who's capable of taking care of this child, especially after what he's been through. And if none of that works out, is there no family members that are capable of keeping this young boy safe and feeling good about themselves, then they're going to go into the foster system, and hopefully they pick out a loving family who's going to take care of him, whether it's temporary or not. But those are the steps that's going to determine where he goes. And they're going to put every effort into it to make sure he's in the right place going forward.
Yeah, and from your experience with the system and the people who work in the system, let's say he goes to a grandparent or an aunt. What type of oversight is there going forward after this case has been closed? Let's just say both parents end up getting convicted. They go to jail for a long time. They're out of the picture. But making sure that he's not, once again, finding himself in a case where he could be abused.
Oh yeah, that should be a visit or a call or whatever it might be 2-3 times a week. That should be an absolute determining factor when it comes to child protective services in keeping track of this young boy, without a doubt, making sure no other family, they're not trying to manipulate the system, and just make sure he's safe and healthy.
All right, Tom Smith, former NYPD detective. It's always great to have you on Law and Crime. These are really difficult stories to talk about, but your perspective as someone who's investigated these, you see it firsthand. It really goes a long way as we try to make sense of all of this here on Law and Crime. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Chris, as always.
We talk about these cases of child abuse all too often here on Law and Crime, but I want to tell you that I believe it is important that we talk about these cases so we all understand.
So this
It's
is Dan
the
Holland.
last
If you're
one.
not from New York, and even if you
New
are, it's
York
okay if you're
City
unfamiliar.
councilman
He was a former councilman in
busted
Queens. He left
airport
office in
with
disgrace and spent some time in prison for
1,000+
taking bribes. But it seems like the disgraced councilman can't stay out of trouble,
Yeah.
especially when the feds allegedly caught him with videos of child sex abuse on his phone. I'm Elizabeth Milner with Law and Crime. Now, the former public official was changing planes at an airport in Miami while he was heading back to New York. Now, federal agents say they caught the 54-year-old with as many as 1,000 videos hidden on his iPhone, and he reportedly admitted to having them. 1,362. That's how many child sexual abuse videos federal agents say they found on Dan Holleran's cell phone. So, how were they found? Well, it's not like Dan handed over his phone and said, "Here, look." More happened. On Tuesday, Dan was traveling from Cuba and was supposed to head back to New York. Keyword, supposed to. So Dan got off his flight from Cuba. He was in Miami International Airport when Customs and Border Protection pulled him to the side. So yeah, that's already not looking too good. When they pulled him aside, it was for a device inspection. Now, according to reports, custom officers are allowed to search cell phones and other electronic devices at ports of entry with no probable cause or warrant. But what they allegedly found was disturbing. Investigators say they first found around 35 videos in a hidden folder on his iPhone, and those were reportedly of prepubescent girls being victimized. It was also discovered he allegedly purchased content from Telegram. You would think Dan Holleran would deny, right? Well, he reportedly admitted to knowingly having those disturbing videos on his phone. So I mentioned the number 1,362. Well, get ready for some more numbers. Officials say Dan told them about 2/3 to 3/4 of the 1,362 videos in his hidden album showed videos of child sexual abuse, which no matter how you slice it, that is just one video too many. He was booked into the Broward County Jail, but now he's in federal detention in Miami. Again, not Dan's first time behind bars. He was convicted in 2014 of election rigging, well, specifically bribery and conspiracy charges. He took money to fix the Republican mayoral primary in New York City. Oh, and he was convicted of taking payoffs from developers who wanted him to funnel city money to them. But those developers were actually the FBI. So yeah, you can see why he's known as the disgraced councilman. He was sentenced in 2015 to a decade in federal prison, but he only served 5 years of his sentence in prison. He was released halfway through his sentence because of the COVID pandemic. As station WPLG in Florida points, in a crazy twist of irony, he now has the same federal inmate register number he had after his bribery conviction. When it comes to this case, though, no plea just yet. He's set to be arraigned at a later date. So for now, he's still in federal detention in Miami. I'm joined now by retired NYPD detective David Sarney. David, thank you so much for joining me. Obviously, you're from New York. What's your reaction to Dan Holleran's arrest in Florida?
It's not unexpected for a person who's already been locked up in time federally. What is concerning is the fact that it's now child support. So that's always a thing that you look at. Is this is obviously, and we see pedophiles in the past we've arrested. It doesn't just start immediately with the arrest. There's been things before that. So there's going to be more of a deep dive into his online profile and his access. And this is just the start of the investigation that's going to continue on with this arrest.
Yeah, and even the start, it kind of paints a really disturbing picture. More than 1,300 child sexual abuse videos were found on his phone. And if that's not disturbing enough, 35 of those videos were of prepubescent girls, excuse me. What does that tell you? And what does that also tell you about how long he may have allegedly been doing this?
Well, that's the issue. The benefit was when CPB looked at his phone, because they can do that, which is a benefit because they're authorized to do that, especially when it comes to international travel. He was coming back in from Cuba to Miami, and they did a look on his phone. And CBP is authorized to do that. As they look on the phone, they see all these things on his phone. They look and seeing a date of 2024 is when he was downloading these photos. I'll guarantee you whatever access or any photos he has or any videos will be at his residence. So there's going to be search warrants conducted there. And again, that deep dive into his online history and his online profile and access that he's had. This is going to be probably a longer-term investigation because you want to look to see who he's been in contact with, because pedophiles tend to group up. They tend to share and send these photos. So internationally, there's a benefit for law enforcement because now you're going to look at it on the national level. Maybe we can actually start, gathering a net and grabbing these people who are getting these videos, and not only that, maybe producing these photos, because this is just a heinous crime that it doesn't end until we eliminate the threats of these individuals, these pedophiles.
Yeah, because it doesn't seem like this is a type of case where this is just like a one-off instance. It doesn't seem like he just did this alone. Obviously, to your point, he maybe had other people kind of playing parts into this. Now, how do we were talking about authorities finding the phone. How do you think authorities knew to look at his phone? Now, they are able to search through it without a probable cause or without a warrant or anything like that. He was traveling from Cuba, heading to Miami, where he had that stop before heading back here to New York. Do you think it was just the right chance moment, or do you think all along federal authorities knew that they had to keep an eye on him?
Well, that's something that's unusual, but given the fact he's a convicted felon, that might have added something to it. But, this is something that Customs and Border Protection can do when people going international flights coming back into the U.S. And given the fact it is Cuba, we've had issues with Cuba travel. So this might have been an added nuance to the opening of a phone, checking on his phone. And once they saw there's issues with the phone, it moved on from the initial investigator, the initial officer, and then it cascaded and moved downward. And then they started seeing this dark web of pedophilia that he's been warehousing on.
We go from corruption and bribery to this.
Well, this is the thing about criminality. It's extensive. There are people who are bad, and he was convicted felon of federal. This is a federal crime that he's involved in, and pedophilia is something that when it's put out in the open, it's not just a one-time thing. The benefit is he's been caught. Now what you do is now you work on someone who's done this, and the heinous crime is it. You are innocent until be guilty in the court of law, but he did admit knowingly possessing the items there. There's a lot of damning evidence to look to convict him federally. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. So, when you see these types of cases, especially when it comes to child abuse, child porn videos, and pedophilia, this is where the ensnarement of all of the resources that the federal and local and state agencies do is to hone in on these people, because it's not just one person. He got these videos and these photos from other people that share it. So it's going to continue onward, and I don't doubt that the agencies involved will get as many people as they can who are involved in this, not just this person. I don't want to name this person who's been arrested.
Yeah, and it does feel like it's the tip of the iceberg as well, too. In terms of charging him, it was a lot of videos, right? But only 2 federal child pornography charges. Why do you think it wasn't more?
Well, what you can do is sometimes the way the federal courts, the way prosecutors are, they have at least 2. If they want to extend them further, they can. So they're going to work on the 2 and see where they can get. They may want to look for some cooperation in a sense. You're not going to see him take away prison time, but there could be extensive time. If he doesn't cooperate, they can then add additional charges later on. I've seen it happen in state cases where we have a person arrested for some, but if they don't cop to the ones we have, they'll extend those cases to further all the cases they want. So he almost has 1,400 video. So you're looking at 2 federal charges, and if they need be, they'll just extend the charges further.
And we were talking about this a little bit offline, that, the CBP officer also found texts indicating that Dan Holleran purchased this type of content from Telegram. And we see Telegram come up a lot in different cases that we cover, mainly suspects using it to try to get away with this type of activity. But what are your thoughts overall on the use of the app specifically to engage in this type of nefarious criminal behavior, but also what are your thoughts on just him using and messaging someone to buy this type of content on the app?
You see a lot of people using these scripted end-to-end apps such as Signal, WhatsApp, and Telegram being one of them. It seems to be Telegram is that darker side of it, where if you might be getting things on social media to someone wants to be your friend. Here's my Telegram number. So there's other things going on with Telegram. I mean, there's a benefit to it to protect and privacy of individuals, but there are people using it for nefarious purposes, such as selling child porn. So this is one of the things that tech is good. When tech is good, it's good. But people use technology sometimes for the worst of the worst, and this being one of them, distributing child porn.
And do you think that it's possible, had investigators not caught up to him when he was flying in from Cuba, that maybe that's where this was heading, for him to distribute it to more people?
Yeah, the benefit of this is what CBP did, and they did their job as part of anything that they do when people come back into the States. But if the CBP officer did not look into his phone, we would know how far it would have gone. This is where this wasn't he was being investigated for. He was found to have it at that moment. So that's why it's not going to be just on his phone. He's probably going to have items on his other devices, laptop, desktop, whatever computer source he has. So this is just something that is a happenstance, because this is what federal agencies do when you're coming into another country. You're susceptible to being checked, in a sense, searched, and they were allowed to search the phone. It's very rare they do it. But in this case, given the fact that they're coming from a country that we've had issues with as far as travel is concerned, that might have been the reason why they did look at the phone.
Yeah, and you can't even imagine what would have happened had they not looked at the phone. He's back here in New York and just could have wear NYPD. When you talk to suspects who were accused of the exact same thing, do they think in their mind that somehow this is better, that they possess these types of images, these types of videos, as opposed to actually acting on these types of crimes? Do they feel like there's a difference? Because to me, there's not, but cases.
Well, these type of cases, when we've dealt with people who are into children, they don't see anything truly wrong with it. There's been societies which promote it. There's been NAMBLA was one of them and has been one of them, where they don't see a harm in it. But the reality is it's illegal, it's immoral, and you can't push away the fact that of what you're doing is something in fact criminal. And I don't see anyone not saying this is an evil act. And because you're just a visionary of it, I'm just watching it, doesn't mean necessarily that you're not privy to it. Because if you're purchasing it, if you're involved in it, you are putting yourself and you're promoting it. Because that's why you saw there were different type of programs that they got. So this it had in the past with pornography, but child porn is child porn. And this is something that we have to, we have to nip in the bud. And the only way to do it is these individuals need to be incarcerated, and the people promote this and distribute this porn need to be also incarcerated. I have not seen, unfortunately, anyone truly reformed from this type of because of this problem and this.
Yeah, it's starting to fuck on Truth Hurts channel. I still got some more shocking and strange news stories. As I run through them tonight, since my favorite content creators, the Fibrissimus, they ain't doing nothing right now. They didn't retire. But see y'all on Truth Hurts channel in a minute. I think it's gonna be good. I know it's gonna be good. Till the next episode, we out. Never been a hoe, I stay on go, so what the business? Nigga talking reckless, shoot this bitch ass with the quickness. Now he bleeding, sorry, beggar, asking for forgiveness. Bow, 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 limp biscuit. All my niggas wildin', they done labeled us a misfit. Wake up every morning, 2 or 3, 5 in the tidbit. Oh shit, didn't nobody come to see you old, it's some focus. Shoot 100 shots, no reloaded. Master of the game, you would think I'm into coded. Memphis niggas spit this pippin', mackin' like I'm golden. Ho, with my money, you gon' turn me to the old me. Say hi, first class flight, I'm in the nosebleed. Hop it, cook it, whip it, ship it, till you count the proceeds. OG, I've been moving pack niggas since 03. Low key, niggas hating, but they don't want no beef. State gang, true sippers, bitch, I bet we don't eat. Get jammed, get a lawyer, make it bunny, don't speak. Pour up, oh, I need some more, nigga had a long week. Shout out to my plug, he showed me love, he out in Long Beach, I'm true geek. Walking by myself, but left with 2 freaks. Ooh, we, nothing in they mouth and on they booty. Austin Power swag, yeah, baby, this is groovy. You can call me money boy, or you can call me nudie. Hood niggas, churches, chicken, let me get a 2-piece. Top down, 2-seater, let me feel the 2 breathe. Gotta hold it steady, chopper, kick it back like Bruce Lee. Lately I've been in the zone, I guess I'm in my 2-3. Don't call my phone for nothing less than a QP. Feeling like the Migos, cause my bitch is bad and bougie. All my haters love me, all these bitches just some groupies. Came a long way, I like to introduce the new me. Standing on business like I'm king or like I'm Drewski. Call me Ron Island, cause I like my love for choosy. When we link it's a movie, she bustin' like a Uzi. I love the way she do me, I beat it up like Uzi. She dancing just like Suki. Call me Ron Island, cause I love my love for choosy. When we link it's a movie, she bustin' like a Uzi. I love the way she do me, I beat it up like Uzi. She dancing just like Suki. I never been a hoe, I stay on go, so what the business? Niggas talking reckless, shoot his bitch ass with the quickness. Name pleading, sorry, baby, asking for forgiveness. Pussy ass nigga, Limp Biscuit. Never been a hoe, I stay on go, so what the business? Nigga talking reckless, shoot his bitch ass with the quickness. Name pleading, sorry, baby, asking for forgiveness. Pussy ass nigga.